Hi, I'm Paul Asbell. I just played a piece of music, shortened piece of music called Bound for Adamant. It's from my new CD, From Adamant to Atchafalaya. And I am playing a guitar right now that's made by Julius Borges, who's actually a good buddy of mine. And it's an OM replica type guitar, OM 28. It's Brazilian rosewood back and sides, which I will show you in a second, and Adirondack spruce top. It's not quite as much a replica as some people's guitars. In other words, it doesn't have bar frets, for example. It has a truss rod. It has a number of things which more modern guitars have, but basically it's a recreation in many respects of what the 30s OMs were. It's actually been part of my music for quite some time, and I play it almost entirely when I play my live solo gigs. Of course, what everybody cares about with a guitar is, let's see the back. And this is Brazilian rosewood, as I mentioned, and there's actually beautiful spider webbing on the side as well. But as most of you probably also know, the way in which many people judge Brazilian rosewood is not by its wild psychedelic acid trip figure, but rather by whether or not it's basically straight grained. And this is pretty darn close. As Julius mentioned, he said that, well, I would call it 60s Martin wood, which is right. Not 30s Martin's wood, but 60s Martin wood. Very hard to get these days. And the top, as I mentioned, is a Adirondack spruce. Has a pyramid bridge, which is sort of a 30s spec. And it has, its sound is a little more stingy, I would say, than, not stingy, but stingy. Maybe that's a silly word, but just there's a little bit more bright, high end, which I actually like and sort of works for the kind of stuff that I like to do. It's not quite as rich and mellow sounding as a 30s Martin would be, but on the other hand, there's a really kind of a sparkly aspect to the high end that I kind of like. And there's a sort of I call it a spanky sort of attack that really works well for playing bluesy stuff, which is a certain fraction of what I like to do. And let's see, Waverly tuners, and I have a little K&K dual source system in it, which is, you see the mic poking out the front. That's one of the reasons that's why I use this one guitar consistently, because it has that system. And with the K&K system that I use, it just winds up being much more able to be performing, to go from venue to venue with, and consistent, and that's a nice thing. Let me mention just something about the Jean Pierce Armfrest, which, to be honest with you, I kind of forgot is there. But it is something that it does two things which I like. One thing is that sort of keeps your sometimes sweaty arm off of the top, so you don't wind up getting the kind of mungy sort of developed buildup that you often see on older guitars, because their owner was out in the hot sun playing and sweating here and just kind of getting this entire area completely sweaty, and also kind of affecting the finish as a result. So it doesn't do that, and that's a plus. But it also keeps your arm off the top, sonically speaking. It's actually kind of routed in a sense at the back, so it really actually only contacts the top of the guitar in that very narrow area there, which is pretty sound, does not affect the sound in any way. And as a result, the whole top is more free to vibrate than if your palm was, or rather your forearm was on the top of the guitar. It's a good idea, and I strongly recommend it for people who really depend on the acoustic sound of their guitar. So that's a story about my Julius Borges OM. And I will just kind of play out for you a little bit of that song, Bound for Adamant, from my new CD.